Hare Krishna, Gauranga, बोलिए Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go Premanande.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Ako Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Andani Yasa Sakale Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Dipan Dikayanti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala
Jaya Radha Shama Sundara Radha Shama Sundara Radhe. Jaya Radhe Sham Radhe Sham Radhe Sham Jaya Radhe Sham. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sarmaha. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sarmaha. Oh, Bando Mui Savadana Bhate Banda Mui Savadana Bhate Yahara Prahasade Bai E Bhavatori Yahai Yahara Prahasade Bai E Bhavatori Yahai Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Guru Mukha Parama Vacya Chitete Koriya Guru Mukha Parama Vacya Chitete Koriya Arana koriya mane asha. Arana koriya mane asha. Sri Guru Taharane Rati Aise Uttama Gati. Sri Guru Taharane Rati Aise Uttama Gati. Ye prasad pure sarva asha. Ye prasad pure sarva asha. चकुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु सहै. चकुदान दिलो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु सहै. दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित. दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित. प्रेम भक्ति यहाँ होते अभी दबी नचायते. प्रेम भक्ति यहाँ होते अभी दबी नचायते. वेद गाया रचरित. वेद गाया रचरित. O Sri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu. Sri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu. Lokanata Lokera Jivana. Lokanata Lokera Jivana. Oh, Prabhupada Patita Pavana. Guru Deva Laila Sharana. Oh, Prabhu Koda Daya. Deha Mode Pada Chaya. Prabhu Koda Daya Deha Mode Pada Chaya. Prabhu Koda Daya Deha Mode Pada Chaya. Prabhu Koda Daya Deha Mode Pada Chaya. Ebe yacha gusu tripuvana. Ebe yacha gusu tripuvana. Oh ha ha Prabhu Koda Daya Deha Mode Pada Chaya. Prabhu Koda Daya Deha Mode Pada Chaya. Prabhupada Patita Pavana. Oh, Prabhupada Patita Pavana. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Pachata Dechatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivajadi Gaur Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivajadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivajadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe. Jaya Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Radhe Shyam, Jaya Radhe Shyam. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Radhe Shyam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Balaram. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hare Om Tat Sat. Dhanyavad. Thank you, sir.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Lalita Vishaka Jaya Radhe Sham, Lalita Vishaka Jaya Radhe Sham. Prabhupada, 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 Jai, Jai, Prabhupada. Nitai go Haribo, 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 Nitai go Haribo. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajacharya Stavtarasa Shri Srimad Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai His Grace Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu ki Jai Nitai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bol Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachari Shatarane. So today we'll have a Srimad Bhagavatam class till 8:30 and then we'll continue the memorial of His Grace Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Deving Sarasvating Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nasta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityang Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 11, Text number 12. Saritira Gatang Krishnang Bhagnarjunam Atavayat Ramangcha Rohini Devi Kridantang Balakar Brisham Saritira Gatang Krishnang Bhagnarjunam Atahavayat Ramangcha Rohini Devi Kridantang Balakar Brisham Saritira Gatang Krishnang Bhagnarjunam Atavayat Ramangcha Rohini Devi Kridantang Balakar Brisham Tang Balakar Drisham Devi Matajis. Saritira to the riverside. Gatam, who had gone. Krishnam, unto Krishna. Bhagnarjunam, after the pastime of breaking the Jamala Arjun trees. Ata, then. Avayat, called. Ramam Cha, as well as Balaram. Rohini, the mother of Balaram. Devi, the goddess of fortune. Kridantam, who were engaged in playing. Balakai, with many other boys. Brisham, with deep attention. Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport. Once, after the uprooting of the Jamula Arjun trees, Rohini Devi went to call Rama and Krishna, who had both gone to the riverside and were playing with the other boys with deep attention. Responsively. Once, after the uprooting of the Jamala Arjun trees, Rohini Devi went to call Rama and Krishna, who had both gone to the riverside and were playing with the other boys with deep attention. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Mother Yashoda was more attached to Krishna and Balaram than Rohini Devi was. Although Rohini Devi was the mother of Balaram, Mother Yashoda sent Rohini Devi to call Rama and Krishna from their play, since it was the right time for lunch. Therefore, Rohini Devi went to call them, breaking their engagement in play. Om Jnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jaina Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistang Stapitang Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we're hearing in this 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam about the love of Mother Yashoda, Rohini, Nanda Maharaj. Actually, this fraternal love, this parenthood love, very deep emotional affection. As we all know that the mother with a newly born child, little child, is always looking out for the child's welfare. It's described that Mother Yashoda, upon rising, would immediately be taking care of Krishna, washing his face and chanting mantras for his protection and dressing him very beautifully. Her full meditation is there. There's a description of many fraternal love devotees, starting with Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, Rohini Devi, all the mothers of the cowherd boys that were stolen by Brahma, and Mother Kunti, and so many great personalities who are having this loving exchange with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is Krishna's reason, one of the multi-reasons, unlimited reasons, but one of the reasons is to attract the conditioned souls back to the spiritual kingdom, to show how life in Vrindavan, with the fun that Balaram and Krishna were having with their cowherd boyfriends and girlfriends, mothers, fathers, guardians, all very deep, loving exchanges with full attention and full of emotion. Everyone's looking for some experience to become happy in this world, and Krishna's showing how that can be developed. Not that we become Yashoda and Nanda, but we worship them, just like one great sage was saying that There may be those who are studying all the Vedic literatures and performing yajna and tapasya and all these very important aspects of self-realization. But I simply worship Nanda Maharaj because in his courtyard, Krishna is crawling and playing, exhibiting his pastimes. So Krishna, he's very, very attractive. And those who have seen Krishna in his early babyhood, and they see him again, they say, you're getting more and more beautiful, more and more attractive. So Rohini was told by Mother Yashoda, you go get this Krishna and Balaram. They're playing too long with all their friends and it's time for them to eat. And even though Rohini Devi, she went to call them, she knew that they're not going to listen to me. They're going to listen to Mother Yashoda because her love is more intense. Or it's in this world we compare things, you know, more or less, relativities. It's unlimited love Rohini Devi had, you can't compare. And the unlimited love that Nanda and Yashoda are showing Krishna can only be described in words. It's not like we can try to say, well, that's a lesser or greater devotee. We understand that all the associates of the Lord are eternally ecstatic, serving Krishna. And it's an example of how we can be inspired by the guidance of Srila Prabhupada to stop this horrible repetition of birth and death, the samsara, because everyone in this material world is trapped in darkness, they're illusioned, they're very strongly controlled by the pulling of all the senses, which include the mind. Karmana Daivana Trena, we're forced into this body. We're forced into the next body at the time of death. Yang vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram. Whatever state of being we remember at the time of death, that state will attain without fail. So it's recommended by the great acharyas, by Srila Prabhupada, that all day we should be hearing about Krishna. You rise early in the morning, you're chanting mantras that Krishna is in my body, Krishna is directing me and guiding me. So this sarvasya chahang hridi stana vishto matatsmritrikyanam apohanangcha. Krishna is giving us guidance. It's not that Krishna made this material world in a sadistic mood to see everybody suffering. Everyone is suffering in this world because they wanted to enjoy separately from Krishna. Krishna's facilitating, giving. But again and again, as his pastime, he appears. Matsya Avatar, Kurma Avatar, Lord Varaha, Vamana Dev, sending all his associates and great sages. And only 5,000 years ago, Krishna came and exhibited these beautiful pastimes, Komara, and even with Arjuna, and the Battle of Kurukshetra, the teachings and the instructions are there for our benefit to awaken us, because most people, they don't want to be awakened to spiritual life. They find it troublesome. Oh, why are you bothering with this? You just become a servant to some person and become a parasite, useless person with no productive energy given to the modern advancement of society. But scientists and philosophers for millions and millions of years have been trying to analyze and figure out what is the purpose and goal of life, what is the foundation of life, you know. Now all the chemists and scientists are trying to create, some kind of life, microbe, but it's existing everywhere. All kinds of forms are there. Isn't it? So much beauty is there. It's not that Mother Nature is working independent of a controller. They like to think like that. But Krishna is obviously anxious as our Father, because we're all actually female, and Krishna is the Purusha. Parang Dhamma, Pavitrang Paramangvam Purushang, Shashvatam Divyam Adi Dev Majam Vivum. He's the supreme enjoyer, the supreme male. And although we find ourselves in male and female bodies, we're all Prakriti, we're all female, and we have a relationship with Krishna in service. Whether that service is one of awe and veneration, of friendship, of parental love, conjugal love. And they're all perfect in their own way. We all have some identity, Swarup Siddhi, our eternal existence in our spiritual body. But when we're encased in the material body and we're forced to act under the modes of nature, then we always find ourselves bewildered and suffering. No one wants to continue suffering in this world. And everyone is afraid, especially old age. I call my mother, she's 88. How are you? Oh, don't get old. It's very hard. Don't get old. So who doesn't want to get old? Nobody wants to get old. Can't get up off the chair practically. You need one or two sticks to walk with. Very difficult. And the material body, this vehicle, starts breaking down. Although we try to maintain it nicely, everything starts breaking down in this vehicle. So before it breaks down totally, we should utilize whatever energy we have in the human form of life to render devotional service. This is recommended by all the acharyas, that our very famous verse, Tad vidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnana statpadarshana. You want to learn the truth? Nobody likes to be lied to. Tell me the truth. You know, people say to tell you the truth, because most of the time they're lying. But the real truth is given by the guru, by the spiritual master. So if we inquire with submissive inquiry and with a mood of surrender and of service, it's not just give me. We've come to Krishna consciousness for the purpose of becoming free from the cycle of birth and death, for going back home, back to the spiritual kingdom. And as we make progress more and more, it becomes more and more visible, the spiritual kingdom, Goloka Vrindavan, Vaikuntha. We start understanding a little bit more how this one little planet Earth is not the all in all, that there are unlimited planets, unlimited universes, and all these unlimited universes like a little mustard seed on the hood of Ananta Shesh. You think Ananta Shesh, an expansion of the Lord, lying, controlling all these. He hardly even understands that the universe is there, and the universe is very heavy. Planet Earth is big, huge globes floating around space. This is Krishna Parasya Shaktir Vividhaivar Shruyate. Everything is manifest by Krishna's desire. It stays for some time. All the living entities have a full carnival experience from the very top to the bottom. Lord Brahma, great, powerful, controlling demigods, very powerful men, distinguished, very wealthy, controllers, zamindars, isn't it? They're very powerful. Then you come paupers in the street. There are insane asylums. You end up in jail, inside the jail of Durga. And then not only that, now in Kali Yuga, they're slaughtering the babies in the womb. You can't even make it out of the mother's womb before you get slaughtered. So this will not stop, no matter how we try to philosophize and comfort ourselves, pat ourselves on the back that, no, it'll be okay. Who knows what will happen at death? No one knows. This is the fool's idea of a solution. The ostrich is being attacked. It sticks his head in the stand. I'll be okay. So a progressive person who's a little bit fortunate and intelligent will inquire, Atato Brahma Jignasa, who am I? Why am I suffering in this world? And how to get out? How do I get out of this material existence? This is by the mercy of Guru. It's not simply by our own efforts, but the submissiveness, the humility, and the inquiry must be there. But if we have our own plans, Krishna gives us material world. He'll give us another body. Try to fulfill that desire as well. So here we're seeing how Rohini, Devi, and Mother Yashoda are exhibiting their love for Krishna and Balaram. And Mother Yashoda is saying, Krishna Balaram, listen, Nanda Maharaj is waiting for you to take lunch. Send all the kids home. Don't have their parents wait. They should all go have their lunch. Look how nicely they're dressed and they're bathed. So you're all dirty now. Come home take bath, take your lunch, then you can go play again. Everyone knows kids want to play. They don't want to stop the play and come home, you know. So this is Krishna's nature. And we all are seeing little replicas. We're all tiny, tiny, tiny little Krishnas, you know, in the sense that we're all part of Krishna. But Eko Bahunang Yovidadati Kaman, he maintaining everybody, he's providing for everyone's necessities, the supreme controller and provider. And out of love, he sends Guru so that the Guru can guide us all back. He has a torchlight of knowledge. He has the Vedas. He has the map. You know, if you're lost and you're sitting in darkness, somebody comes with a good torchlight and has a map how to get out of the predicament, you feel great relief. Otherwise, you're stuck in the forest with ferocious animals ready to devour you. And we won't discuss who all the ferocious animals are, but it's all the encumbrance. This is my wife. These are my children. This is my nationality, my country. These are the bad guys. These are the good guys. All this duality we see, look at the newspaper, you'll see that who's who and what's what. Basically, birth, old age, disease and death, and all kinds of packages is the sum total of material existence. And to get out of this misery, we have to take shelter of Guru and Krishna. Just like Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu was fortunate enough to meet Prabhupada and to take up the process of devotional service and render some valuable service for the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We're all insignificant. We shouldn't think, oh, I did so much. Don't you know I've done this and that? But we were given an opportunity to render service. Prabhupada was very proud of his white elephants, and also when he came to India, he saw that finally people who are fortunate and intelligent are taking up the Sankirtan mission. Very attractive. And Varsha, Punya, that these are all very pious living entities. Simply by hearing Krishna and seeing the Sankirtan mission, it very quickly awakens their, oh, yes, we should also be doing. So now we see so many hundreds, thousands, millions of followers are coming. And we're fortunate that Prabhupada, he brings the devotees back to his shelter. I was in Los Angeles, I think in 93 or 94, there was an earthquake, but Sudam Maharaj, he came back after leaving the society for quite some years. Devotees took good care of him, and he left nicely, surrounded by the holy name. And we have many, many devotees who've all been sheltered by Prabhupada's grace. So today we're having this memorial for Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu, and because the Lord in his heart guided him, and although we all struggle with identifying with the body and the mind, the various disturbances which we're all in the shower of devotional service, cleansing ourselves of the long entanglement, very compacted material desires, many lives of aspiration to be happy, but it's never going to be achieved, like trying to find water in a desert. It's just an illusion, the material world. It does exist, but the idea of that there is happiness and satisfaction, that you can achieve it by your own efforts in the physical material body, that's an illusion. That's a misunderstanding. So, Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu, when 5 years ago, I think it was, we were in Florida, Alachua, and we met Nrsimha Chaitanya, and he wanted to come to Vrindavan. I said, very good idea. So he traveled with my wife and myself. We came here, when is it? 5 years ago? 4 years ago? 4.5, 5 years ago. And he was struggling like everybody else. We all struggle in different times in our lives. but devotees were taking very good care of him. Mahadevi put a lot of energy to help him, and I saw that he was very regulated in his Guru Puja, sitting in class, in the kirtan. Very quiet, humble, but appreciating the devotees, never speaking in any kind of negative way, just like the Goswamis. They don't want to hear nonsense talk. They only want to hear about Krishna, Krishna Katha, and developing the good qualities of the Vaishnava. So I would say, Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavati Kinchana, that he developed godly qualities and was made very fortunate to live in Vrindavan under the care of his god brothers and god sisters, and to take care of one another in Krishna consciousness. When Prabhupada was visiting one temple during winter and everyone was coughing. Why everyone's coughing? You don't have sufficient clothing? You should take care of the devotees nicely. So even though we're mortals, we make mistakes, imperfect in many ways, we should try to help one another as best we can to remember Krishna, to serve Krishna, and to go home, back to the spiritual kingdom, Krishna Loka. So what arrangement do you have for the speakers? I'll sit here. He'll sing Jayanilo Premadana. Is he ready? I'll read one offering. Who's this? Oh, this is from take it out. Nrsimha Chaitanya's sister. My name is Susan. I am Nrsimha Chaitanya's older sister. He also has an older brother named Bob, still living. I spoke to Susan and Bob a few times. As you come together today in memory of my brother, I can only speak of his early years. Our family was a close one. Our parents, Ruth and Bill, were dedicated, caring teachers. Nrsimha, the youngest, was a loving son and a loving brother. He was a happy child, good to others, and well-liked. He loved sports, captain of his high school soccer team. My memories of him and family together are precious. As young adults, my brothers and I went our separate paths. Nrsimha's path was in pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. In 1970, he became a follower of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and joined the Hare Krishna movement in the USA. Srila Prabhupada ki captured another lost condition soul. Now it seems appropriate. The last stop in his life's journey would be India, in a spiritual place. And so in India, I have sorrowfully lost a brother I loved deeply. Yet I am thankful he died peacefully. It wasn't until recently I came to see what a kind and caring community my brother has been part of during his adult life. Thank you for your help during his final struggle. I know my brother in his heart, and I am most grateful to Mahadevi for her time and effort as caregiver and god sister to make his last few years most comfortable and spiritual. Again, thank all of you. Susan Buckles. Harmonium, please, from Prabhuji.
Jayanila Premodano Karuna Prachur Jayanila এনা প্রভু কোথায় গেলা আচার্যটা কো কাহা মোরা সরপ্রূপ কাহা সনাতন কাহা মোরা কাহা দশ রঘুনাথ পতিত পাবন কাদশ কাহা মোরা বট যুগ কাহা কবেরা এক কালে কোথা গেলা গৌর নট রায় পসনে কোটিব মাতা অনলে পাশিব পসনে কো আর গৌরাঙ্গ গুণেরা নিধি কোথা গেলে পাব সেসব সঙ্গের সঙ্গে যে কইলা বেলা আর সে সঙ্গ না পায়া কান্দে নরোত্তম দাস সে সঙ্গ আর সে সঙ্গ না পায়া কান্দে নরোত্তম সে সঙ্গ না পায়া কান্দে আর যে আনিল প্রেম দন করুণা প্রচুর যে আনিল আরে না প্রভু কোথা গেলা আচার্যটা কো जय नृसिंह चैतन्य प्रभु वैष्णव ठाकुर नृसिंह Srimad Chaitanya Prabhu Vaishnava Thakur. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada.
So Dinabandhu Prabhu will read one offering from New Vrindavan and then give his offering for Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu.
So this is offering of New Vrindavan devotees. Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu will be dearly missed by the residents of New Vrindavan. In the 1990s, the community was hanging on by a thread, financially and otherwise. Nrsimha saw need and threw himself into his service. He practically ran the New Vrindavan Go Raksha Seva program, single-handedly to engage residents, visiting devotees, and pilgrims to support the cows. Whenever guests would arrive at New Vrindavan after their long journeys, he would be the first to greet them and make sure they received a plate of prasadam. If there wasn't any prasadam available, he personally went to the kitchen and cooked something up for them. He put the cows, devotees, and guests first before taking care of his own needs. Nrsimha Chaitanya was constantly taking guests down to the barn, which at that time was located over a mile from the temple. Before they left, he made sure guests were provided with a variety of milk sweets from the cow's milk. He wanted to give them a full New Vrindavan experience. During the summer months, he opened a lassi stand where he made and sold gallons of sweet lassi to support the cows. Many long-time donors to New Vrindavan still fondly remember him to this day and his genuine appreciation for them. We at New Vrindavan will always remember Nrsimha Chaitanya as outstanding Vaishnava. Even during times of difficulty, he continued to embody the proper Vaishnava mood and etiquette. Always kind and humble, and ready to serve others. From Sadaruchi Das, Gopalasya Priya Devi Dasi, Kripamaya Das, Sankirtan Das, on behalf of the New Vrindavan devotees. Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu Ki. So somehow I happened to be in Los Angeles Temple in 1970. And when you're young, you think you'll live forever. There's no such thing as death. There's just something that you preach. Old age and death. Now we're getting the practical experience of old age. I tell you, it's not fun. But somehow we got the news that some Sankirtan devotees were run down by an inattentive truck driver. Everybody was killed. Good friends of mine were killed. And the Nrsimha Chaitanya, he went through the windshield. And it was part of the reason he had some trouble in his brain. But he survived. And the insurance gave him $10,000. 1970, that was a lot of money. Nowadays, that's pocket change, especially for medical expenses. So he wanted to give it all to Prabhupada. He went to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, no, you keep 1,000 for yourself, And he gave 9,000 to my MBT fund. So that's what he did. But I always remember him, even from 1970. He's a very gentle devotee, very kind-hearted devotee. I was very happy. Somehow Panchagoda found him loitering somewhere in America, having a hard time, and thought, he's at the end of his life, bring him to Vrindavan. Because this was Prabhupada's example. At the end of our life, we like to spend our time in Vrindavan. And so he came here. He's still that same gentle devotee. I can never remember hearing him speaking a critical word about anyone. He was always very kind and very wonderful devotee. And Mahadevi helped him so much in his last days. And last day was very peaceful. Somehow she went out of the room to get some medicine, and she came back and the Sringa Chaitanya was gone. No pain, no nothing. And this is the perfection of life, to leave one's body here in Vrindavan. So Sringa Chaitanya, as we heard, he did so many nice services, and Prabhupada brought him back to Vrindavan to leave his body and go on to serve Prabhupada some other place. So he's very, very fortunate. Hare Krishna. Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu ki.
Jai. Thank you, Dinabandhu Prabhu. I'm asking Janarda Maharaj to speak. He has to go to Hyderabad for preaching. He's leaving shortly. When Mahadevi called me and told me that I think Nrsimha Chaitanya may have gone, and I went to MBT, and he's lying, looking very peaceful, like he's ready to get his japa bag out and start chanting or something. Yeah, very, very, very fortunate. And a special day in the morning time. I think half-eaten toast or something I saw. Incredible.
Amagyanaatimirandasya gyanangana shalakaya chaksurunmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha vanchakalpatarubhyasya kipasindubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Somehow, the passage of Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu, very auspicious. During the last 24 hours that he spent with us, I became part of whatever I can contribute towards his going back to Srila Prabhupada. Mahadevi Mataji requested me to kind of talk to him, counsel him, especially in chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, because he's finding it very difficult to focus or say the words distinctly. So exactly 24 hours before he left, he came into my office and we spoke for like an hour and a half. And Mataji says I should record the conversation. I should have recorded it because he told me his whole life in Krishna consciousness when he come in contact, initiated, joining the Radha Damodar party, Berkeley Temple, all New Vrindavan. He says, Maharaj, don't record. I should have secretly recorded it, so for posterity, somehow. One thing I can say about Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu, not just one thing, few things, that he struggled so hard And Krishna consciousness is not so easy. This is what we mentioned yesterday in the class. The Krishna consciousness is actually very difficult if we want to attain it, because we have to pay the price. And the price is not so cheap. You really want, you must be eager. And somehow, with the mercy of the Vaishnavas, the holy Dham, our deities, it became so easy for him. He's not able to forget what happened in the past. He repents so much what he did. Which I told him, don't worry, the past is past. You should just go on. But he just kept coming back. No, Maharaj, I made a mistake, I know. You just chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, forget the past, and go on. That's what Srila Prabhupada told us. Keep going, don't stop. It doesn't matter how much difficult situation we face to, keep going. And Nisingha Chaitanya Prabhu is like a real soldier of Srila Prabhupada. He's like a very brave fighter, a very good spirited fighter, because he's surrounded by all of his well-wishers, especially Mahadevi Mataji. She took care of him so nicely. Panchagoda Prabhu, everyone here. He never gave up. For others, they say, forget it. It doesn't work. Let me just enjoy the material world as much as I can. This is a very good lesson we should learn from Nisingha Chaitanya Prabhu. He spent a lot for Srila Prabhupada, his time, his energy, his money, and in the end, it pays back. Prabhupada's mercy is deeper than the deepest ocean on the planet. His compassion, those who took shelter of Srila Prabhupada, you are very, very fortunate. This is not a simple thing, to take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and to stick with Srila Prabhupada's movement through thick and thin. And Nisingha Chaitanya Prabhu is the best example that I've seen. The story that he told me is like, I almost broke down. It's too much to handle. But he never gave up the holy name. So please have faith on the holy name of the Lord. This saves him, that when he was found on that day that he left his body, he's like, with Japamala. How peaceful can you be? Leaving your body, holding the Japamala in your hand, and that's it. Not much suffering. But the whole life practically is suffering for him. But in the end, so shanti, so peaceful, so glorious. Prabhupada's mercy is unlimited. Krishna says, I preserve what they have and I carry what they lack. This is the best example. And hope against hope, when I leave my body, I should be also surrounded by devotees. How many can have this opportunity? In the Holy Dham, the best of all places in the world, with the devotees, with the holy name, what else can you ask for? You got the whole package there, isn't it? Complete package. Prabhupada, unlimited mercy, unlimited kindness, unlimited, especially to his disciples. So, Hare Krishna. That's all I can say, but please have faith in the holy name. Doesn't matter how much difficult it is. And to the devotees of the Lord and to our dearmost lordships here in Shri Vrindavan Dham. Nisingha Chaitanya Prabhu K. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Janardhan Maharaj. Very to the point. Like that, Satyanarayan Prabhu come give his offerings.
So I'm going to read a letter from our godbrother Bhaktidas, and then I'll say a few words. Very happy time for me to be with my very, very old dear friend and eternal brother, Darshan Chaitanya Das. I had not seen him for decades, but when we met, it was though we had never been separated. Oh, that was in Jagannath Puri 3 years ago. I believe his accident was in 1970 or 71 because he was with me in San Diego from 1971 until at least 1974 when I was sent to San Francisco. I selected Nrsimha Chaitanya Das to be the temple president because he was so sincere and pure. I was sure Krishna would take care of everything. In 1971 and 72, he traveled with me in the famous Krishna One Sankirtan van, and we went all over the USA selling books and doing programs in the important universities. Nrsimha Chaitanya Das was one of the most humble, sincere, gentle, and willing to always serve in any capacity devotees I have ever known. When I heard that he had left, I was quite overcome with emotion. He is one devotee who has forever been placed in my heart with only love. I am most grateful to Srimati Mahadevi, who spent so much time and energy to care for him physically, mentally, and spiritually these last few years. She served as a nurse, a maid, a cook, a teacher, and most of all, a loving friend who was never trying to exploit. Thank you so much, Mahadevi. Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu Ki Jai. So I was fortunate to be on the on Srila Prabhupada's BBT library party throughout Southeast Asia, and Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu was also a member of Prabhupada's BBT library party. This was a very, very exciting and important service that we were allowed to do, going to literally hundreds and hundreds of universities throughout India, and also for some of us outside of India, throughout Asia, and etc. Gargamuni Prabhu had a brilliant idea to purchase 6 Mercedes-Benz vans in Germany, and he had devotees drive them all the way from Germany, overland, through Turkey, and finally arriving in India. It was a very long trip. And we were split up into these different vans. And it was just a remarkably exciting experience. I was not in Nishinga Chaitanya's van, but sometimes we would cross each other in the service throughout India. The one thing that I recall that Nishinga Chaitanya was famous for was never accepting no for an answer. This was a very unique type of strategies that we had, which was to find the manual or the book that described all the courses in each university, and find those departments that might have some interest. And so then we would go to the professors and show them the books, and we would get recommendations from them, which we would show to the acquisitions librarian, who never wanted to take the books. The librarian would always say, we have no shelf space, we have no money. But by going to the professors and getting these reviews saying you need to have these books in the library, we were able to get the books in the library. Hundreds, and actually it wound up to be thousands of universities throughout the Eastern and Western hemispheres. So Nishinga Chaitanya Prabhu was a very expert at this service, and Prabhupada mentioned in a number of letters how important this BBT library service was to him and to the entire parampara, because Srila Prabhupada wanted his books to be respected by the scholarly class of men. In other words, everyone, from people on the street to the highest, placed postdoc professors, PhDs. And he was also interested in reaching the educated people of the world. So this service allowed for that to happen. And Srila Prabhupada said he had a special blessing for those. So Nishinga Chaitanya Prabhu has that very special blessing from Prabhupada. And even though he had has a gentle demeanor, gentle qualities, he was like a lion to have Srila Prabhupada's books distributed successfully. So my eternal humble respects to my dear godbrother, Nishinga Chaitanya Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Yeah, Gargamuni Prabhu just told us that Nishinga Chaitanya gave $10,000 for the construction of the Lotus building. And Mahadevi, I forgot, had also wanted me to say that we had the fortune to
to help him in his later days here, because he could never sleep properly. And so by giving a combination of herbs, he was finally able to have some peace in that. So I'm glad we were able to do that service. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, thank you.
Thank you, Satyanarayan Prabhu. Sankirtan Yagya Ki Jai. Book distribution. Mother Mahadevi, you can come. Mukunda Datta will speak.
Hare Krishna. I didn't really know Narasimha Chaitanya Prabhu really at all. I didn't really know Narasimha Chaitanya Prabhu at all. Just a little bit of association I had with him after he came here to Vrindavan. But what has struck me about him, from what I've seen, is his incredibly humble character. He was, for someone who's done, as Satyanarayan Prabhu was describing, such lion-like service for Srila Prabhupada. He was just very low-key person, could easily be missed in a crowd. Very gentle, apparently very peaceful, humble personality. I always admired that because he's so far away from my own personality. But Hare Krishna. Sorry. So he really impressed me with his character, particularly his very humble, very peaceful, respectful demeanor. Never really saying much. You could easily overlook all the wonderful things that he's done for Srila Prabhupada. I'm told that he was temple president in San Diego just a few years before I myself went to San Diego as well. And New Vrindavan, and of course the BBT Library Party. He was traveling with two other god brothers, Veer Singha Prabhu, who is now Narasimha Maharaj, preaching in China, Pita Prabhu, who's in America, I think. They all describe him the same way, that he would never take no for an answer when distributing Prabhupada's books. So, very, very nice devotee. No one had anything negative to say about him, and I never heard anyone else say anything. He never said negative things about anyone else, and no one else ever said negative things about him. Yasman no dvijate loko, lokan no dvijate chayaha, just as Krishna describes in Bhagavad-Gita. And devotees should be like that. So his example, at least from a distance, from what I could see, was very inspiring. I felt fortunate and unfortunate at the same time, when I heard about his sudden passing, because just the day before I had brought him some Mahaprasadam, and he was so appreciative for that. So I was happy to at least get a little bit of seva done for him. According to Mahadevi, something I said helped him to gain the determination to fight and to chant his japa even when that became difficult. We all have that struggle with our minds. So, like I said, he was a very gentle, humble Vaishnava, and is a great inspiration to me. Always in the Akhanda Kirtan, whenever I come to the temple, I always used to see him here, taking advantage of the time that he had left. Who would have known? None of us know how much time we have left. Suddenly he was gone. But he made it by Srila Prabhupada's grace, despite so many difficulties and so much struggle. And I mean, it's not really how you, I want to say, when all is said and done, put it that way, it's how you end the game. And he was able to come to Vrindavan by the grace of his spiritual master, who undoubtedly appreciated his service so much that he arranged for him to die peacefully in Vrindavan in the end. Now, I wanted to also add just an extra note of appreciation for Mahadevi Mataji, who is so dedicated and patient and determined and selfless and all the other wonderful qualities that are demanded of a caregiver. I mean, people die in different ways. Some people go out kicking and screaming, and some people go very peacefully. But it's not an easy thing to care for someone in their final days. And if it wasn't for Mahadevi, he might have not have stayed. We have to appreciate the service that she's done for him as well. So somehow or other, Srila Prabhupada arranged that he came back to Vrindavan. He left his body in the Dham. That is the Ante Narayana Smriti. Whether you like it or not, if you're in Vrindavan, you're going to remember at the time of death. So he made it. Jai Shri Narasingha Chaitanya Prabhu. So fortunate. In the last minute, you came back to Vrindavan, and Srila Prabhupada, we are confident, is taking you by the hand into your next service. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Narasingha Chaitanya Prabhu ki jai, Vaishnava Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mukunda Datta Prabhu. So we'll have Sarvabhauma Prabhu speak, and then Mahadevi, you will wrap it up? Yeah, okay. We hope that Mahadevi lives another 100 years, take care of all of us. She does such a good job.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. His Grace Narsingha Chaitanya Prabhu, as we are hearing, sincere, humble Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON movement soldier, worked in many different activities, like we are hearing library party, was book distributing. When I met him in '89 in New Vrindavan, he was taking care of the cows. He was in charge for the cows, and his main preaching was to the mostly Indian families there in India, or say in America, and going in their home for preaching and making ghee, Govardhan ghee, and distributing ghee. And fortunately, 2-3 months we traveled together. So at that time I went to America from Pakistan. I was not in India at that time. So he was introducing to me everybody. He has come from Pakistan. And then he was inspiring them, actually, that even our Krishna conscious movement is preaching in Pakistan. And he has come here, so you organize some program. So he used to organize program in Indians' houses. And we usually used to go and travel together. I mean, she was very humble like anything. Once we were traveling and there was no gas in the car. It was saying red line. Now he was really agitated. What can we do? When we'll reach to the gas station? I said, oh, nothing will happen. We'll reach. Don't worry. He said, sure. Are you sure? And he was driving. Are you sure? By the way, we reached, by the time before it stopped, we reached to the gas station. So he was relieved. I said, he was released. And then he came here, I think, when we were here and managing at that time in Pathak Bagichi, he was staying in Pathak Bagichi. There was a guest house here. Then Bombay, we were together also. We went together from here to ISKCON. Bombay, Bhima Prabhu was in charge there. He gave us one place to stay. So he never criticized anybody. This is the one thing which is actually a qualification of a Mahabhagavat, which we don't know who he is. But the Mahabhagavat is Ninda Adi Sunya. He never criticized anybody. This is the something which he never said this or that about anybody. And you have spoken, or now you are going to speak now, Mahadevi Mataji? Last? Now I know. But she has some thing which already one day I spoke to the students when I was teaching. I was teaching something. Though he was a devotee, which is not very much, like a leader and recognized. But Srila Prabhupada has recognized him even when he was in the beginning of the movement. And Srila Prabhupada arranged for him everything before time. And Mahadevi Mataji will really tell you this letter of Srila Prabhupada, which she was showing to the Dinabandhu Prabhu, that when he was traveling in a Sankirtan with two of his god brothers, the van got an accident. So two god brothers, they left their body in that. He was surviving. So he got from government some $10,000 as a compensation. Srila Prabhupada wrote letter to him, you keep $1,000 and deposit $9,000 in our MVT fund. So he secured for him in MVT to come and leave body from here and go back to Prabhupada. So Prabhupada has arranged this so perfectly, nobody knows what is going to happen, but Prabhupada, his service already he has deposited here, that he will come here, he will stay. And the other thing which I liked very much about him is every day he was here in Bhagavatam class without fail. Afternoon Arati he is always here. The afternoon Arati, Rajbhog Arati he is always here. Just standing with the devotees chanting or sitting behind. So most of his time was spending in the temple. I mean, this was like a last preparation before going, that he was fully absorbed. Only some he was really complaining to me, there is no ghee, because he made ghee always. He said everything should be cooked in ghee. Sarvama, where is ghee? So we need ghee. Arrange ghee. Make ghee something else. He's like that. So I was really feeling, and when we were discussing together that, well, when the corona time will over, we will go again and travel in USA as before we were doing, and we will give a last push to the preaching. He said, okay, we will do it. Simply, but he will say like, yes, we will do it. So Narsingha Chaitanya Prabhu ki. The Panchagoda, when he told me really that he left body, it was really shocking. That means he was all right, but somehow, without any trouble, without putting any, and thank you very much, Mataji, you took care of him so nicely. When I came in Vrindavan, Dinabandhu told me that he want to leave body and he want to really, mentally quite dearend. So I couple times I stopped and talked with him. Well, he said, there's something wrong inside, but outside I'm okay. I said, continue chanting Hare Krishna and be happy. Narsingha Chaitanya Prabhu ki. Hare Krishna. Again, my same realization, when somebody is glorified in front of the deities, there is definitely he going back to Godhead. There's no doubt about that. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Want me to read that? A letter from Srila Prabhupada to Nrsimha Chaitanya, June 5th, 1974, to San Diego. My dear Nrsimha Chaitanya, please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your undated letter, and I have examined the contents. Your reports of the devotional progress of San Diego are very convincing. This combination of book distribution and public festivals is very good for bringing the people to an attraction for Krishna consciousness. Go on holding as many festivals as possible. I am especially attracted to the pictures you have sent of Radha, Giridhari, the deities of San Diego ISKCON. I have placed one picture in my desk, and I'm always admiring the beautiful decoration and the transcendental beauty of these deities. So although your temple may not be one of the largest, you are excelling in deity worship. If you can maintain and increase this standard, everything will come successfully. Regarding the $10,000 you are receiving shortly from your lawyer, yes, you may keep $1,000 for the local expenses you have mentioned, and the balance $9,000 may be sent to my Mayapur Vrindavan fund, which you can submit by mailing to Jayatirtha with instructions it be deposited in ISKCON Mayapur Vrindavan Trust. Thank you very much for this help in our projects to make beautiful temples in India for all my foreign students. Do not worry about past mistakes and fall downs. Krishna has given you a new chance in taking care of one of his ISKCON temples. So the future is very bright. There's nothing to worry about. Simply yourself be ideal in all the devotees there by chanting as much as possible and following carefully all the regulative principles. Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So I'd like to invite Mother Mahadevi.
These cookies are for after. Hare Krishna, Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swamini Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Paskachade Shatarane Vanchakalpatrubhishya Kripasindhu Bhyevacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So before I give a short glorification of our dear Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu, Devi Shakti Prabhu, she had some teeth surgery, but Devi Shakti, yeah, big difference. Devi Shakti Prabhu, she had some teeth surgery, but she wanted to make an offering also to Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu. Very wonderful how from 4 years ago when Nrsimha Prabhu first came, Devi Shakti and I together decided it was going to be our mission to help him. And she engaged him, first of all, in the Matchless Gifts bookshop, where he did just simple things, packing books, putting books on the bookshelf, but always willing to do what was ever needed. And he really enjoyed being around Prabhupada's books. Every day reading Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita, hearing the Bhagavatam from Panchagoda Prabhu, and seeing the memories of Srila Prabhupada. So I would give her regular updates. And very transcendentally ironic is that he had lived in a couple of different places, but about a year ago, Diva Shakti invited him to come and stay in her flat in MVT, and I lived right across, so she knew that it would be very easy for me to take care of him with the proximity of our two places, but always encouraging him and engaging him. And just in his last, about a month, he was working in the big bookshop, putting little stickers on and packing up books, and very, as everyone has mentioned, very humble demeanor in doing the needful. So Diva Shakti Prabhu says, "Dear devotees, it is by the special mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Sri Radha Krishna that any of us have been allowed entrance into the holy Dham of Vrindavan. Anyone who gets the chance to serve here must have performed huge volumes of devotional service over many lifetimes. This was also true for Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu. Though he came to reside in Vrindavan in the last few years of his life, we will hear how dedicated, we have heard how dedicated he was to Srila Prabhupada and book distribution. In Vrindavan, according to his capacity, he continued to serve in any way he could. He would come to the international bookshop and humbly render whatever service was required. Even if he could only put price tags on the books, he was happy to help. We were waiting for him to arrive that day, which was last Tuesday, Hariyali Teague. We had so many books for him stacked up, ready to price. But Sri Krishna had another plan for him. Now he has gone onwards on his path back to Krishna, eternally serving Srila Prabhupada in any humble way. We were fortunate to have his association and learn from him that despite any impediments caused by our body or our mind, we should carry on with devotional service and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, he sees our sincerity. Nrsimha Chaitanya attained the perfection of life simply by staying in the association of devotees and trying his best to follow Prabhupada's instructions. Our obeisances to such a simple and surrendered soul. Hare Krishna. This is from our, thank you Diva Shakti Prabhu for all your loving exchanges that you gave to Nrsimha Chaitanya, for always encouraging him and accepting him despite his different challenges that he had, always accepting him as an eternal son of Srila Prabhupada. Our next offering is from our dear God sister Anada Devi. She has a flat in MVT and has been Srila Prabhupada's daughter since 1972. Anada was initiated. All glories to Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada is most merciful, allowing you to reside in Vrindavan and eventually leave from there too, and being blessed by the devotees to take care of you. What a perfect recipe, reaching the perfection of life. Jai Shri Krishna Balaram. Anada also was very instrumental, and Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu would chant japa in the MVT garden. Every day I had him do his daily walk. We were trying to follow the process that Srila Prabhupada said that what helped keep him healthy in his old age was daily walk, Ayurvedic herbs, and yes, daily massage. So Nrsimha was getting 2 or 3 massages a week. So we were trying to follow that process, and every day he would do his walk, and Anada Ji, she would be out there too, and always encouraging him to chant, and they would have very nice exchanges. Also Dr. Avnish, who was also very helpful to Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu. He wanted to say all glories to Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu's service. He was a very sincere disciple of Srila Prabhupada. And although he had very intense mental health difficulties, he persevered with hearing and chanting and trying to follow Srila Prabhupada, the perfect medicine for everyone. This is from Gaur Purnima Devidasi, wife of Panchagoda Prabhu, who's engaged in so many different services here in the temple, as well as helping her beloved husband. She also developed a very loving and kind, giving such kindness to Nrsimha Chaitanya. In fact, she gave him this yellow Radhe Radhe little chadar, and you probably saw him wearing it practically all the time, and we also put it on his body for the cremation with his bead bag. My dear Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu, my loving obeisances to you. Your open and soft heart made it easy for us to be friends over the last few years. I feel blessed to have had your association and will always be inspired by your determination to stay in Braj, to serve Srila Prabhupada and serve the devotees. May you be at peace and happily situated in the loving embrace of Srila Prabhupada and Sri Radha Shama Sundar, your servant, Gaur Purnima. And this is from, thank you, Gaur Purnima Prabhu, for all your kindness that you gave to Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu, and also to all the devotees. Not easy to be the wife of the temple president. She's been so instrumental in helping so many devotees, and I'm very grateful to her. So this offering is from Braja Leela, who is our MVT yoga and pranayam teacher, and she helps many devotees with different health problems as well. And she says, I am very grateful for the short time I got to know Nrsimha Chaitanya just before he passed away. He allowed me to give him a couple of pranayam classes with Mahadevi Mataji. Even though the concept was very new to him, he was very patient and kind and respectful towards me, like a real gentleman. We saw the difference in his chanting by helping him to slow down his breathing. I pray that he is in a better place now, eternally serving Srila Prabhupada. I had an offering here, but basically I just want to thank Srila Prabhupada and our Vrindavan lords and all the devotees in Vrindavan for giving me the opportunity to serve Nrsimha Chaitanya. Sometimes the service, when you're helping different devotees, especially with mental health issues, it can be very challenging. But as we've all heard, because of his sincerity and his humility and his attachment to Srila Prabhupada, especially reading his books and hearing the Bhagavatam every day, he was very attached to hearing from Srila Prabhupada. And many times when he was having very difficult time, I would turn on the lecture of Srila Prabhupada or the memories of Srila Prabhupada. You know, you can all go on YouTube and hear the memories from hundreds of Srila Prabhupada's disciples. And it's very wonderful to hear the love of these dancing white elephants and of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, and how Srila Prabhupada personally injected that determination for all of us to keep serving. Even at our advanced age, we are still trying to push on Prabhupada's mission. So I think it's very, not I think, I saw it as very just wonderful how Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu gave that money for Prabhupada's MVT, And then in the end of his life, he comes to MVT and he finishes out his life in this world right there in the flat in MVT. And as somebody mentioned, I had gone across to get him a tonic. I could see that morning his energy was a little tired, and I just told him, well, just take rest, and I'll put the, he has a big TV in his room, I'll put the program on there. That's something interesting. He didn't know how to work a phone or a TV or a computer. I don't know if any of us can conceive of not clicking throughout the day, but he didn't have access to any of that. And I thought about that later, that must have really freed up his mind to really want to hear the Bhagavatam and read the Bhagavatam. He was really into reading Chaitanya Charitamrita in the last few weeks of his life. And every day we would have prasadam cooked for him in ghee. I made an arrangement with Gopal Raj Prabhu that he would come every day and give Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu's lunch cooked in ghee, and it made a big difference to his well-being that he was eating prasadam. And he would offer it. That was something else. In the last month, I was teaching him a little deity worship, and he had a little Gopal. So he would every morning go out into MVT garden and pick flowers for his little Gopal and change his water and give him a little sweet. And every day the lunch prasad would come, and he would put in the bowls and made sure that the spoon was facing little Gopal. So you can see even all these little devotional details that Prabhupada has given really enriched his life. And although he had different kinds of mental health issues, we don't see that, do we? We don't see that. We see that a devotee is sincerely engaged in devotional service. And if we can help another devotee try to rise above, just like we have to do with our own selves, isn't it? Every day we have to take our minds and engage in chanting our rounds and read Prabhupada's books and hear from Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada's voice, I used to keep the chanting on 24/7. So actually when Nrsimha left, Prabhupada was chanting. He left with Prabhupada chanting. And Prabhupada's voice, as we know, is Shabda. It's sacred sound vibration. So if every day you can try to hear a lecture or see a video and actually hear Prabhupada's voice describing the contents of his books, it's very, very wonderful. And Nrsimha Chaitanya Prabhu was very attached to that. So every day we would read this beautiful verse. I'm sure many of you know it. This is a collection of verses that I put together about struggling and difficulties, and Prabhupada's solution, Prabhupada's verses in regards to this. So if you know the verse, you can chant along. Tate nukam pasa sami kasamano. I'm not very good with Sanskrit, so you could chant with me. Bunjana evatma kritam vipakam. Ridvag vapur bir vidadam namaste. Jiveta yo mukti pade sadaya bak. Daya bak, rightful hair. So the translation, my dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada particularly says, a sincere devotee earnestly desires to go back to the Lord's abode. Therefore, he willingly accepts the Lord's merciful punishment and continues offering respects and obeisances to the Lord with his heart, body, and words. Such a bona fide servant of the Lord, considering all hardship a small price to pay for gaining the personal association of the Lord, certainly becomes a legitimate son of God, as indicated here by the word Dayabak. Just as one cannot approach the sun without becoming fire, one cannot approach the supreme pure Lord Krishna without undergoing a rigid purificatory process which may appear like suffering, but which is in fact a cure treatment administered by the personal hand of the Lord. Srila Chaitanya Prabhu Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada's divine healing process and his books Ki Jai, and Sri Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, and our Vrindavan Lords Ki Jai. And Saranga Thakur and Akinchana Krishna Prabhu, Jagan Nivas Prabhu, many other devotees were very instrumental in being, and Dharmatma Prabhu, and Sandeep Prabhu. And now as I look around, I see, so, of course, Ryan and Dino Bandhu and our dear Panchagoda, so many devotees who had faith in Nisringa Chaitanya as a sincere devotee of the Lord and encouraged him to just stay attached to Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. Hare Krishna. So we're going to send this video and all these memories and pictures to his family in California, and this will be very nice for them. Hare Krishna.
Nisringa Chaitanya Prabhu Ki Jai. Hold on. Mahadevi, have a second thought here.
Yeah, sorry, no. I wanted to make Panchagoda Prabhu very happy today. You can see what's, Nisringa Chaitanya Prabhu wanted to give 10,000 rupees to Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja celebration.
I am so happy. I also like to thank Saranga Thakur and the team that takes care of the final rites when you go to Jamuna and you see the bathing and the chanting and the ceremony for the final rites. It's actually very spiritually uplifting. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
Are you happy?
I'm happy.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Hare Krishna